Hey, it's the Shoe Boy, and I'm doing a video, I guess, about the top 7 parks in Calgary and the top 7 most interesting streets in Calgary, in my opinion. So, I guess we'll start with streets. Okay, well, Center Street, if you don't know where it is, Center Street starts at the base of the Calgary Tower in downtown, and then it goes up through Chinatown, across the river, and up into past Crescent Heights and Tuxedo Park, and then it's basically just a straight line that divides the northwest and the northeast, and it ends at the city limits. Center Street's interesting because there's a lot of commercial places on it, a lot of shopping, a couple Chinese malls. That, apart from the Chinatown in downtown across the river, is another area with a lot of Chinese restaurants and shops, bakeries and that. And then further north from there, there's not that much, but that area is pretty interesting. And 17th Avenue in the Beltline, that's an obvious one. When people think of Calgary and like a busy street, that's usually the one they think of because it's the Red Mile and it has a reputation. 17th Ave I don't really find as interesting as Center Street, but that's just because I think it's kind of more gentrified and there's a lot of bars on it and expensive clothing shops, but not really much budget stuff. Okay, but it still makes it on the list. 17th Avenue East in the northeast, or I guess it's actually in the southeast, is probably the more interesting part of it. So that's up in the communities of Forest Lawn, Dover, Albert Park, Applewood, and it's otherwise known as International Avenue. So there's lots of ethnic food and shopping and grocery stores along there. It's a little bit harder to walk around because it's more suburban. There's a lot of parking lots on either side of it, and there's not many trees. It's busy, cars go by really fast, but you can get the bus up there. There's a BRT bus that runs from downtown up along that part of 17th Avenue. And another interesting thing about it is farther on the east side of it, there's an area called Little Saigon Village. That's kind of Calgary's only Vietnamese mall, exclusively Vietnamese. And then 10th Street and Kensington. I counted them as one street because they intersect like that, or I guess to you it's backwards, so it'd be like that. And 10th Street coming north to south, and then Kensington Road. Now the Kensington part of it is a little more modernized and cleaned up. I don't know, it's not that interesting to me. There's a few cafes. One interesting thing on there is a theater that offers cheap and sometimes free films, a lot of documentaries, foreign films, and low-budget films. That's kind of cool. And then 10th Street, the one that runs north to south, there's some good restaurants on that street. I used to live right around that area. So there's 2 Ethiopian restaurants, both are good, some Vietnamese restaurants, Thai restaurants, and a whole bunch of other stores, record stores and art stores and that kind of thing. And then Marda Loop is in the southwest in the community of Altadore and Marda Loop, I guess. The neighborhood is kind of named after that area. So it's just off of Crowchild Trail. There's not really that much there, but what is there is kind of interesting. There's a good Vietnamese place there. And it's friendly for walking around. It's easy to walk around, and then if you go off the main street, there's side streets with lots of trees and vegetation, and they're quiet, right? So, and Stephen Avenue is the one that runs downtown from the Bankers Hall and TD Center, TD Square and the old Eaton Center. And then it runs basically out to the municipal building, the City Hall. And on the municipal building side, close to there, is Olympic Plaza it runs by, and a couple old bank buildings, lots of historical buildings on Stephen Avenue, and the Epcor Center, and the Jack Singer Concert Hall. So that's a really kind of nice urban area of it. And then as you move farther west along it, and in that area between the Telus Convention Center and the Bay, there's a lot of smaller buildings, historical as well, a lot of the original sandstone buildings, much of which have been knocked down in the city. So you can check that out. And it's kind of touristy, I'll admit, but it's still interesting because you get to see the like original Calgary. And then of course there's the bay, and then on the other end of it is the TD Center and Holt Renfrew and all that stuff. And then my last one for streets is 4th Street, which runs 17th Avenue runs east to west. 4th Street kind of runs through it from downtown down into Mission below. And there's a lot of restaurants on that street. It's a little bit like 17th Avenue, but not as busy. And that's it for streets. And then parks. So the top 7 parks in Calgary. I should mention that none of these things are really in order. I couldn't decide on an order. So Riley Park is a good park. That's in Hillhurst, close to the area I grew up. And there's a water park for kids, playground. It's close to the Sunnyside Hillhurst Community Center where they have the flea market. And it's close to 10th Street. So it's in a really good location. It's usually pretty busy. And there's big trees in there, and the lawn is taken well care of, so you can lay down and relax under the trees on a hot summer day. As long as, if you stay there too late, that's probably not a good idea. A lot of homeless people live there. But, so yeah, Riley Park is good. Princess Island Park is right in the middle of the city. It's right across from the neighborhood of Eau Claire and downtown, between that and Sunnyside. So it is actually an island in the river. It's a man-made island. And it has a nice lawn. It's got a outdoor theater which hosts a lot of festivals in the summer, and a wetlands. It's also really close to Chinatown. So it's kind of like the Central Park of Calgary. That's how I see it. Only it's got a river around it. Okay, Fish Creek has to be on the list, right? Because it's the biggest park in Calgary. It's a provincial park right in the middle of the city. It's pretty awesome. You can go biking and fishing. Actually, I don't think you're allowed to go fishing, but you can go anyway. And it's a lot of expansive land, hills, wetlands, like grass. The Bow Valley Ranch, which is a historical ranch, is preserved there. Lots to do. Good place any time of the year to go, as long as you're not freezing in the winter. And Bowness Park, which is in the neighborhood of Bowness. Go figure. It has a kids theme park in it, mini golf, a little train, like a train for children that goes around the park. It's still pretty fun to ride if you can let them let you on there. I would still do it anyway. And then the winter, the lagoon in Bowness Park freezes over, and it's a skating rink if you like that kind of thing. Other than that, it's a nice place to have a picnic. There's places where you can barbecue, those fire pits that they have, and it's right on the river, so it's nice that way. River Park, which is along the Elbow River. Kind of at the beginning, it starts at the south end is at the Glenmore Dam, and then goes north until a couple turns later in the river, and then it kind of tapers out. There's a dog park right above it, and a golf course on the other side of the river. And it's a peaceful place with lots of tree cover, where you can go. It's right in the middle of the city, but you can go there to get away from everything. Feels like you're in the country when you're down there, because the river is down below all the houses that are up on the hills, so you can't really see them. And Glenmore Park, north and south, which surrounds the Glenmore Reservoir. You're right on the reservoir, so it's a nice place to go at sunset. When the sun is setting, you can see it reflect off the lake. And there's Heritage Park is right in there. Lots of good bike paths. And Confederation Park is the last one, in the northwest, I guess, mostly, yeah. And it's kind of, I don't know where to describe it, kind of Tuxedo Park, but not really. If you went north on 14th Street past Sate, eventually you'd go down through the middle of it. It's not a very big park, but it's kind of, I kind of think of it as like a mini Fish Creek, but a lot better kept. It's a city park. It's got lawns, it's got trees, flower gardens, and all of those types of things. And I think it's a nice park in the city. Calgary doesn't have a lot of nice parks because Calgary's really new, so there aren't a lot of trees, but those are ones that I would recommend. Alright, that's everything I have to say. Alright, see you on YouTube.